People are scared that he's spending way too much money. People want him to put the brakes on. What is this? Where does this go from here?
Well, he's become actually too liberal for some moderate Democrats, and he, as far as I'm concerned, is very radical for the Republicans. Look, he pushed and pushed and pushed to get this $787 billion stimulus through. It was an emergency. You got to do it right now. People are not falling for the health care emergency as well.
One of the things throughout my whole career is I've always wanted to under-promise and over-deliver. Seems like Obama way over-promised and has under-delivered. And he's still pushing for more and more and more. People don't trust him. His numbers have been so off, they don't believe him anymore.
Here's the thing. His numbers are exactly where Reagan's numbers were in the first term. And the fact is that Republicans' numbers are also falling. Republicans are going from 40% to 36%.
He's number 10 in terms, at this point in his presidency, he is the 10th lowest.
First of all, he's dealing with a major economic recession, and Reagan's numbers were in that same situation when you're dealing with record unemployment.
But Julie, he sold, his whole campaign promise was on hope and on change, and I think he has become the president of hype and chump change. I mean, that's about what he's representing himself.
Andrew, but they said we'd feel an immediate impact if unemployment wouldn't go above 8%. Otherwise, there'd be a crisis and catastrophe.
Well, I think that Julie made an interesting point comparing Barack Obama to Ronald Reagan, because I think he's a reverse Ronald Reagan, because Ronald Reagan was loathed by the mainstream media, and the American people eventually, once he was the president, was no longer seen as the evil or stupid man, that he was a reasonable man and who had the country's best interest at heart. I think that the press pitched Barack Obama as the Messiah, and slowly but surely we're starting to see the reality.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. I think expectations are so high right now for Obama that he's in a very difficult situation. But you have to give him credit. He's trying to tackle many different subjects, and you have a situation where many other presidents who failed before, like Bush with the privatization of Social Security, which he couldn't get through. Presidents do fail at things. It happens. They're not infallible.
But he's moving our country to socialism. He really is. And his disdainment for capitalism is showing.
He's not moving it towards socialism. First of all, for health care, universal health care is normatively the right thing to do. And there's actually a great proposal on
Julie,
the table.
Wait a minute.
For Bulgaria.
Government care, that's funny. Government care, taking over the car companies, taking over banks, insurance companies, financial institutions, dictating pay. That is the very heart of the definition of socialism. Let's call it what it is. Why are you running away from what, the left supports?
I'm not running away from it, but
are.
First of all, he was elected with record numbers, and he was elected on this idea the government can and should make people's lives better. It's a humanitarian
Where in the Constitution does it say that we ought to have guaranteed health care?
First of all, I believe in universal health care.
You don't answer questions. I don't care if you believe in it. Where in the Constitution does it say that every American should have rationed government inferior care?
It doesn't have to be rationed government care. You've got a bill, the Wyden-Bennett bill, totally bipartisan, would cover 99% of Americans, is revenue neutral, wouldn't cost any money. That's the proposal.
You throw out these lines. The CBO. All right, let me bring Breitbart in here. Also, I'm going to bust a blood vessel. Go ahead.
Well, about the socialism, one of their tactics is to go after the people who would scrutinize the president, and one of their tactics is to say that socialism is a ridiculous term, that we're not allowed to use it. But on May 1st, I went to a Tea Party in Pasadena, California. I'm going to one again in Quincy, Illinois on the 12th of September. I think Americans should get behind the Tea Party movement. And I found out the same day as the Tea Party, there was a May Day parade in downtown Los Angeles where the socialists, the self-avowed socialists, had Barack Obama posters. Yeah. They're proud that he's a socialist, but it's the conservatives who get upset, who get into trouble for calling him one.
But go ahead. What you wanted to say?
And what about transparency and accountability? I mean, it's nowhere to be found. And you've got to realize that
it's nowhere to be found.
56%.
You think in the Bush administration you had transparency on Gitmo?
Well, Bush didn't sell himself on that. Obama sold himself on accountability.
Bush didn't sell himself, there shouldn't be transparency?
And you've got to realize that 56% of people...
Let me follow up on that.
About Gitmo, terrorists in jail, wearing orange, reading the Quran all day.
Barack Obama did promise transparency. Okay. Hey, wait a minute.
6 months.
Why are they delaying the economic information information that they currently have that would show that every projection they've made on the economy is wrong. The debt is higher, the deficits are higher, we have greater problems that in fact have been caused by their spending. Why hide that from the American people prior to the health care debate?
I don't think they're trying to hide it. I just don't think that they
Why
have
won't
all
they
the
release
data.
it?
Because it's complicated stuff. They have to make sure that they have their facts right. The last thing they should do is release information that's not accurate. They're doing that, by the way, on Gitmo, where they missed a deadline. They're not putting the information out yet because they haven't reached a conclusion.
That he didn't want to release the information, that his projections on the economy, Breitbart, was so wrong. You don't mind me using your last name because it is Breitbart.com, was so wrong that how can you trust their numbers when they've said unemployment won't go above 8%? The deficit won't go above this number. All these numbers have been proven wrong. And so now they're giving out new numbers for health care that we've got to assume are going to be equally as wrong.
Well, what Barack Obama wants to do right now is re-engage the netroots and people to start fighting for him, because we've neutralized the mainstream media. We now know that they were completely behind Barack Obama. And today, over the health care thing, he put out a Twitter thing telling people that the people who object to the socialism of our to socializing of the system, he's saying that we're putting the lives and the livelihoods of America at risk, which is going to mobilize these people to start attacking us for criticizing him, which is campaign mode. He loves the campaign mode.
We got to take a break. We'll come back more with our great American panel straight ahead.